So I want to talk a little bit about what we know about multiple sclerosis. So you guys have been educated by your doctors. You guys have done the Google searches, I'm sure. Okay? So it's about central nervous system, but in Chinese medicine, and I think Western too, the main development is inflammation. Okay? So this is what you're told. Okay? In Chinese medicine, we believe it's called Wei syndrome. It's flaccidity. Okay? Now, there's four main contributors. Number one is perhaps someone got a feverish disease. We call it in Chinese medicine. It could be an organ dysfunction due to poor nutrition. It could be spiritual exhaustion. So this is the mind-body connection. And then specific dietary factors, which really, that's more chronic. So as far as organ dysfunction, that's a little bit different than just nutritional deficiency. So this is the Chinese medical lens, again, on why would someone develop symptoms and a diagnosis of MS. So Hongdi Neijing Suen, this is one of the traditional main classic Chinese texts. We have Lingshu, we have like 4 to 6 that we mainly use from. But back in 5,000–6,000 years ago, they are describing multiple sclerosis, okay? Now, out of the 5 main types, 3 specifically are pertinent to multiple sclerosis. So we have vessel flaccidity. This has to do with the heart system. It's described as muscular atrophy, debility of the lower limbs, and it's caused, again, by pathological heat, okay? Pathological heat. So some heat's great, but then you guys know, even just in weather, if you have too much heat, it becomes not good. Just like wind, just like cold, dampness. And then you have something that's called Rowei. Okay, this is associated with the spleen. Okay, so this could be sensory disturbance, and again, this is heat, but it's also dampness. Okay, too much dampness in the body with heat. And then the last one is Guwei. Gu is bone. Bone flaccidity, which means this is based on the kidneys. Think of kidneys and adrenals. And this is kind of kidney essence. This is constitutional inheritance. Could have been genetic predisposition, but again, flaccidity, muscles of the lower limbs, weakness, can't support yourself in an upright position. Now, this is what's interesting. So in Chinese medicine, you could come in with a headache. Okay, and I could say sometimes Advil is going to work and sometimes it's not. Well, there's 9 different headaches in Chinese medicine. It's what is the root cause? Okay, is it hormonal? Is it stress? Is it tension? Is it, there's a lot of different reasons. So I would treat 2 people coming in headache differently. Okay, so in Chinese medicine, I can either treat headache from 2 different causes, or I can treat let's just say liver, let's just say spleen and heart, because we're using these organ systems, right? So you have a spleen-based headache and you have a heart-based headache, okay? Or I could treat the spleen and the heart and many different conditions. So I might treat you for the spleen, but you don't have a headache. You actually have a digestive issue. And you might have a blood vessel issue, right? Or tachycardia, it's a heart-based issue. So Chinese medicine does both. Now, what's interesting about multiple sclerosis is that we can look at deficiencies in the spleen and stomach, which have to do with earth, okay, which have to do with what is my ability to receive, what is my, how do I handle dampness and digestion and absorption? And what happens is that if your spleen and stomach in Chinese medicine are not working, you won't absorb the nutrients from your food. Right? You feel naturally that you want to give to others. It's very uncomfortable for you to receive. And again, there's like 1,000 things spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically having to do with the spleen and stomach. But then from a personality standpoint, pathology will arise. Okay? So that's what shows up in how you are in the world. Now, at some point you might have contracted, or you live in a damp environment, especially in Santa Cruz, dampness. We call it evil. Okay? There's a lot, dampness is, in Chinese medicine, it's phlegm, it's mucus, it's mold, right? So you could get this by living in a moldy environment, a very damp environment. Seattle, right? Santa Cruz is still very damp in my mind, but also a lot of mold on cannabis, a lot of mold on coffee, right? And we'll get to that. But so again, somewhere you might have contracted an external dampness invasion, we call it, okay? Lung heat. So the lungs is part of the connection to spirit. It is the ability to feel that grace is bestowed in your life. It's connection to something bigger than you. It's the controller. It's understanding what you can control and what you can't control, right? So what happens is that the lungs is responsible for taking this essence, right? You breathe in and fill this body up with life, and we call it the lung fluid, and it's going to nourish everything that's going to keep you upright and moving, okay? So what happens is that the lung will get an invasion called wind, heat, cold, and it's going to damage the lungs, and then it can't circulate the fluids to nourish your tendons, ligaments, bones, etc. So then you don't have that nourishment for your structure. And then the last one is impairment of the liver and kidney. Liver and kidney are, oh my gosh, they're such sacred organs. They're the fundamental. Liver is the detoxification organ, so obviously you want your liver functioning well, especially if you're on medication, and liver's the stress organ. But kidney, it's like, kidney and adrenals, it's the root. It's where you got your genetics from. It's the base. It's like you don't want to burn candle at both ends. That's the kidney, right? That's the energy. It's kind of like you have so much available in your bank account, and then you have your current balance. You know how much available money is, and then you have more. So that's the kidney. It's like you might have $1,000 in there, but how much is available for you to use every day, energetically, okay? You don't want to be pulling too much from that base. So in Chinese medicine, liver is going to store the blood, and that rules your tendons, and kidney stores this essence, and that's going to rule the bones, okay? So you could have one or two of these, or it could just be one, but somewhere in the process of becoming, through lifestyle, through diet, somewhere, something became deficient or you contracted something. And again, this is Chinese medicine. So on the top here, again, this is from a Chinese medical perspective. Long-term disharmony of emotional stimulation is going to affect the production of marrow, and it's going to affect the CNS. And again, kind of woo-woo, right? Long-term emotional disharmony. This is Chinese, very interesting. Now, or flaring up of lung heat, it's going to inhibit nutrient distribution. So your tendons, ligaments, your bones are not nourished because of somewhere the lung heat. Or spleen and stomach, just asking too much. If you ask too much of the same friend or your partner, they're going to get bitter, they're going to have resentment. Somewhere we've asked too much. It could have been the foods we're eating, who knows. But somehow our spleen, our stomach, our earth caused weakness and it's not working. Or the liver and kidney, some sort of impairment, could be dampness, heat, some sort of Chinese medical, what we call evil, causes the bone and tendons to be weak. And then the last one is some sort of invasion is creating just a blockage. And so things are not working. It could just be on one leg, Okay, hopefully that was.
So these are like all the different possible causes of MS according to the
in Chinese medicine, yeah. Some people think it's mainly 2. Some people think it's 4. So I went back to the classics, but I like to look at all 4 because I think in some ways we're complicated, in some ways we're not. So it's more of the questioning. So right now in Chinese medicine, how we support MS, acupuncture, herbal medicine, dietary recommendations, and Qigong. Okay, so I recommend, most health insurances I know you can get acupuncture. There's also community clinics, and 5 Branches is a great resource. You can get treatments for $25, $20, just depending in group settings. So great resource. And then herbal medicine. Working with an herbalist is really profound to help support maybe the medication you're on and treating the root cause. Dietary recommendations, I can't stress enough food. How much food? So in a nutshell, everything that's coming in is either medicine, neutral, or toxic. We just want to make sure that you're not eating food that's toxic. Neutral or medicine is ideal. And the last one is Qigong. Qigong is the fitness part of Chinese medicine. It's very similar to Tai Chi. It's a moving meditation, but it's also an underlying medical system. And the results of Qigong for MS patients has been amazing. So Eva, I got permission from my business partner, Lee Holden. Do you guys know Lee Holden?
Oh, yeah.
So he's my business partner. We have a clinic. So we're happy to gift you a week free if you want to do Qigong in your home, stuff like that. So I'll give you that link.
Yeah.
for you to post. So Qigong is amazing. If you want to practice with us, we're downtown above Logos on the third floor.